The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart.
Hello and welcome to It's Your Voice, the show that hosts enriching conversations in diversity. My name is Bahia Yaksan, and I teach, coach, and train organizations and individuals and replacing practices that can be harmful with biases and with new ones that are more inclusive and create greater belonging. If you're interested in checking out any of my classes or offerings, you can go to my website, which is knowwhatyouvantcoaching.wordpress.com. Today, the title of our show is Love and Revolution at Delta of Venus. And my guest is Lee Walthall. Lee, thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to...
Great to be here.
Yes, we've been wanting to have you on the show for quite a while because you're very... inclusive community member who creates a lot of belonging at Delta Venus.
That's very kind.
Well, it's just the facts. So I wanted to read, I'm just going to read your bio because I feel more confident that I cover everything if I read. So bear with me. Lee was born in 1970 and was raised in downtown Davis, California. After graduating from Martin Luther King Junior High School, he served with the U.S. Army in Hawaii as an intelligence specialist and survival school instructor, returning to Davis in 1993. Throughout the 90s, Lee made his living as a musician, performing as a bass player in a number of popular funk, jazz, hip-hop, and soul groups. In 2001, Lee bought a small cafe and a converted mid-century house in downtown Davis called Delta of Venus. Here, Lee has spent the last 25 years building community, cooking food, hosting events, and providing space for the downtown Davis community to socialize, organize, work, play, eat, love, and celebrate life together. That's so true. I've seen it myself and been there myself. And so I have so many questions, but one little tiny thing that is just interesting to think of the name of a house. Was it called Delta Venus when you bought the place, when you got the place?
Yeah, it was. I didn't actually start Delta Venus, but it was started by, there was actually a number of owners before me. There was 6 owners in 6 years before I bought Delta Venus, and then 1 owner for the last 25 years. But yeah, it was a cafe in the neighborhood. I lived at a house in the neighborhood called the Turtle House, and we did a lot of cool stuff there and had a lot of events and hosted a lot of people and a lot of guests. And you know, I decided that I wanted to go into having space of my own, a business space of my own that I could do all the things that I was doing at home, but kind of more for the general public and invite people over. And at the time, as I said, maybe people will have to pay me back for the beer they take out of the refrigerator now.
Well, my gosh, it's really worked. I mean, 25 years, that's a long time to sustain a business. And it's definitely dearly loved. Did you think, well, maybe this will go for 5 or 10 years? Did you have any kind of preconception of how long this would sustain?
You know, at the time, I wasn't even looking, 25, 30 years into the future. So I was just, just going day to day. You know, I had like a 10-year plan for sure, right from the beginning. But running a restaurant is, you know, before I was doing the restaurant, I was playing music full time. And playing music is a great life and a great lifestyle. Running a restaurant is really different than that. And I knew it would be difficult. I maybe didn't really understand how complicated it would be. So I had to just work really hard to pick it up as I went along. And fortunately, the community was super supportive of us from the very beginning. And we've enjoyed success since we started, largely because the community around Delta Venus and in downtown Davis is really so supportive of small businesses and community-based businesses.
That's great. That's great to hear. Well, before we talk more about Delta Venus, I'm always curious about transitions. Like, it's kind of fascinating that, like, at a pretty young age, when you were in service, that you were asked, you promoted or working in intelligence. I'm not surprised because you're very intelligent. It seems like it happened in a short period of time. And I'm just curious if there's anything you want to share about that time in service and what it was like to transition back out of service and back into.
Yeah, when I went into the military, the United States hadn't been in any kind of like combat situation. Well, okay, the United States is always in combat situations all over the world that we don't hear about, but we hadn't really been in an official war in so many years, in my entire lifetime. And at that time, I wasn't really thinking of like, oh yeah, we might go to war here as soon as I joined the military. With that said, we went to war right as soon as I went into the military.
Wow.
It was a scary moment, I think, for a lot of people, including my family, that was not really prepared. Like when I went into the military, I was going to, you know, kind of get a job. And I had a good job in the military, which was well, that was a lot of different things, but I started going out being an intelligence specialist. They mean something different by intelligence than what you mean when you say but I went into the intelligence branch, and then immediately we went into Desert Storm. I was not in the Middle East theater. I was in the Asian theater and stationed there. So I didn't actually go into combat without war, but it was a scary moment because a lot of people were going to war at that time. And I think Americans really hadn't really seen that sort of thing before, in this lifetime at least.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, I actually learned a lot in the Army. And I met a lot of different people, a lot of different types of people. Growing up in Davis, you know, Davis is a fantastic place to be. But California and Northern California and Davis are very, very specific cultures. And while it's an accepting culture, it's not necessarily super diverse. I think that, you know, me growing up in Davis, the way I experienced is that there weren't a lot of people like me, but there was an acceptance of who I was. When I went into the military, I met people from all over the world and all over the United States, and really came to an understanding about how different things were in different parts of the United States and how different people were from these different places. I think that was, to me, the most important thing is just meeting new people and meeting people from different places. And I think that that's what's most important about travel and growing up, is just putting yourself into new experiences and meeting new people and trying to understand them and trying to understand where they come from. And that can really have a positive effect on your own understanding of yourself and your own world. I was really successful in what I was in my job in the Army, and there was this, one side of me wanted to stay there and continue to do what I was doing and become successful at that. At the same time, a lot of my friends back in California were professional artists and professional musicians, and that also really appealed to me. And ultimately, I mean, it wasn't really that hard of a decision when it came down to it, but ultimately I came back to California to play music.
After having that exposure that the Army gave you, of being in different parts of the world and seeing their, many more demographics and feeling less isolated in a certain way, right? Because there were more people who maybe shared some of your demographics. How when you came back to Davis, did you miss that? Did you feel a kind of a loss of that kind of diversity?
California, okay, so I didn't really miss anything about the military. Once I left, my life got a lot better very quickly.
Okay.
After I left the military, and playing music is an amazing, amazing thing. The thing about all of the experiences that you have in your life is that they stay with you if you let them. If you learn lessons from them and you allow yourself to be affected by them and you grow from them. I think that, you can only be doing one thing at a time, but you kind of have the collective power of all of your experiences kind of at your disposal all the time, if you allow yourself to. So when I left the military, I was a changed person for sure in so many ways. I left this very small town and I had seen a lot of different things and met a lot of different people. Not all of it was positive. I had a lot of powerfully negative experiences in the military. You grow from those also. Coming back to California and Davis was, it was nice. It was nice. California is a great place. I grew up in Davis, and, when you're growing up in a small town, you just think this is like the dumbest, stupidest, little, smallest town imaginable. And I'm so much bigger than this place. And I got to go out and do my thing and live a life of danger and experience the world. And, people should do that. Kids should leave their town, regardless of how big or small it is, and go experience something else. If you're from a big town, small town, or vice versa, or do plenty of it. After leaving Davis and leaving California and living a lot of these things, I realized that California is a very, very cool place, man. There's a lot of great places in the world. I've been to so many great places, met so many great people. There's amazing culture and food and people everywhere. California is top tier. It's like S tier. It's like one of the best places in the world, if not the best place in the world. I haven't been to every place in the world, but almost every place I traveled to, the things I liked about it most, about those places that I would travel to, were things that you could find in California. Like the food is great here, the quality of life is great here, entertainment, technology, agriculture, everything that, you can grow here is just elite quality. So, progressive thought, this stupid little town that I came from, I found out was actually one of the coolest places in the world, and filled with amazing, knowledgeable, intelligent people, talent everywhere that maybe I took for granted a little bit when I was here as a young person. But as I traveled more, I really realized that I wanted to be back in California and in Davis. And I'm very, very happy to be here. I think that Davis is, I think it's one of the coolest towns in the world. So again, I feel very blessed and fortunate to be from here and to call this my home.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's really interesting. It's, to underscore how much you appreciate it and love it. top tier. Well, I want to hear a little bit more again, because I still want to get to like some of the other topics you're willing to talk about. But just a little bit more about being a musician, because I just happen to know you were a very and still are probably a very, very talented musician, and I know that you can, like you said, you can only do one thing at a time. So I'm just wondering, what was that? Or just say more about your music life, and then moving into this other life, which is so community serving and thank goodness, apparently fulfilling to you.
Yeah, well, music is fantastic. I come from a family of musicians, and I'm very, very fortunate that my parents were okay with me pursuing music as my main occupation and vocation. My father, who's a talented musician, remains very, excited and happy for me that I get to play music like he does. And we relate and bond a lot over that. So again, very, very fortunate that it was easy for me to choose to play music. I know a lot of people have to go against their parents' wishes or go against their communities in order to be able to play music. But for me, my community was always very supportive of my musical career, my family as well. So with that said, I love art of all types, and really played around with doing different things. There was a time where I thought I would be an illustrator or like a 2D artist. But once I really considered it, music was the best option for me. Music, you can like make a living playing music, like poets. It's hard to make a living as a poet or a painter, but music is something that people just like, almost universally adore. And I do as well. I think it's magic. It gets a little corny sometimes, but I think that music is magical. And I love playing it for myself and being able to express myself through music. And I love doing it in groups and being able to interact with my friends playing music. And I love doing it for an audience where you get to put people in touch with something that can be divine, quite honestly, through music, through dancing together, through singing. So I've got to experience all of these things. Like as a musician, I would chase these experiences. I love to play with new people or play new styles or jam out and improvise or practice really hard a certain thing and be able to execute it. Or, I love to perform music that is maybe challenging to understand and requires you to listen really hard. I also love playing music that is easy to dance to and gets everybody grooving together. Music just is all of these things, and even more. Everybody has a relationship with music that makes it, and it's usually one of their most special relationships. We identify music with the best times in our lives, or with songs or music that allow us to be able to get through hard times. Music can you can be in a good mood, and a sad song will make you feel sad, or you could be in a bad mood and a happy song will make you feel happy. I mean, that's powerful, that's magical. So
It is
to me, yeah. So I love all of those things about music, and it's very meaningful to me to be able to play and to be able to appreciate and enjoy music in the way that I've been able to.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And when you said something like being in touch, like when you're playing music, you like the being in touch with I think you said, I don't know if you said audience or crowd, but the people. And I'm wondering if it feels like that when you are serving at Delta Venus, because I've been able to see several different events there, and I see you kind of maneuvering through people while also communicating and being in touch with them and serving. And I'm wondering if is it a similar feel at all? Like are you getting like you feeling the vibrations and I don't know. Is there a parallel to being in touch with
I mean, in a word, yes. There's a lot of things that are very similar. I feel like with what I do with Delta Venus and the way that I would perform when I was playing music. Everything from, the musicality of one's movements and just doing the job or doing what they're supposed to be doing, all the way to having an effect on the public and the people who are around you and, partaking in what you're offering. So there's a lot of things that are the same. And I think a lot of the things that I found success in with music, I was also able to find with Delta Venus. For what it's worth, almost anything that I do or experience, I relate to music. So it's, so while I do say, oh yeah, owning Delta Venus is like music, I also think that all of the other things that I do, that, playing basketball or, talking to a friend, all of these things are musical to me. I mean, I think that the world is music to me. Yeah. And I think that a lot of what I do at Delta Venus is not about like, my goals are not about in like, for example, selling a certain amount of products or making a certain amount of money. Like in a lot of ways, Delta Venus is the stage for for everything that I like to do, for music, for art, for cooking, for talking to people, for listening to people, for meeting new people, for hooking up with old friends. These are all things that are all parts of everyone's life. And for me, I just for me, Delta Venus is about opening my home for everybody to do this at my place. So with that said, food is a big part. We serve food and we sell food. Food is a big part of life, like music. We have a lot of events, and cooking is a lot like music as well. So we have a lot of events. So I'm still very close to music. I stopped playing. I played music still professionally for 2 or 3 years after I got the restaurant. But it became clear to me that if I was going to become really good, if I was going to be able to attain mastery at something, I would need to focus completely on it. And to me, it was very clear that my, especially after a couple of years of doing it, that my calling in life and my life's work was going to be Delta Venus. So I stopped playing music professionally at that point, and just to focus on the restaurant. With that said, to me, performing music for people is just, one way to play music. I have instruments all over my house, and when I just want to express myself or feel good or feel sad, whatever I want to do, like I can pick up an instrument and play that. So for me, like music is still everywhere in my life, both playing it, most of my friends are, I should say a lot of my friends are musicians as well. Most of my friends before I got the restaurant were musicians. So all of those folks who are still my musicians, they're still in my life all the time. I play a lot of music and I'm involved in a lot of music. So I'm sorry, I'm now just ranting about music.
Oh no.
Music. What was the question?
No, it's all related, and it's interesting that you still play a lot of music.
Yeah, I feel way more comfortable expressing myself through music than through like talking or writing or doing anything else. Like I actually feel kind of like I can't express myself well except for music sometimes. Although I love work as well. One great thing about Delta Venus is it provides me with an unlimited list of chores, and I am really good at, I like I like working. So if you want a job that takes up every moment of your time, I recommend opening a restaurant.
Yes, that sounds accurate. For a while, my family ran 2 or 3 restaurants, and yeah, it's endless.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was endless for us. So I would love to dive now more into Delta Venus itself. I'm glad listeners and viewers know. Now, it's like a cafe, it's a restaurant, it's a music venue. There's also art. It's like an art gallery too. Do you always feature local artists when you have an art exhibit?
Yeah, I do. Both with music and with the art on the walls, the 2D art on the walls. Uh, I'm not strict with myself in terms of guidelines on those things, but I definitely favor local musicians and local artists. We're very, very fortunate in Davis, again, to have incredible local music and incredible local art. Like, you wouldn't know necessarily from going out to Delta Venus that that all of the art is local. It's all world-class stuff. We have Gregory Schilling showing right now. The stuff is the best art you will see in any cafe in the world anywhere. Very, very proud to have this show. The music that we have on Friday nights is the same thing. We had, Boca del Rio a few weeks ago, Bomba Fried Rice, Zorelli, like all of these are like, they're exceptional bands that if you were to go out to any restaurant or bar, any place in the world, you would be excited to be able to see bands like these. And they're just local. We have like incredible Patty on the Binge. Everybody lives within 3 blocks of Delta Venus or something like that. Not everybody. A lot of the band lives in downtown Davis, I should say. So like we have world-class music just in the neighborhood here. I feel really so fortunate to be able to have a full music calendar and great art on the walls, and to need to go no further than downtown Davis or this general area.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I feel the same way about podcast guests. This area is rich when it was drawing more people from Sacramento and Woodland and Winters, and sometimes from other countries, but it's definitely a full of very creative thinking people, and you have to want to like you do, reach out and connect to people to find more diversity, but I'm thankful to be able to do that. I'm curious about I'm looking at some of the topics you mentioned that I would love to hear more about. That one of the phrases you use is facilitating resistance to tyranny in the present era. So I wondered if you could say more about that and just see what comes up, because I certainly have thoughts about that.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to hear them. For me, my whole life, I've really been fortunate to be surrounded by progressive thinkers, very, very smart people with great ideas about how to improve systems of power and just aspects of life on planet Earth and in America and California. And so I've just been influenced by a lot of very heady revolutionary thinkers. Once again, this is growing up in Davis. I think that, if I had grown up someplace else, I wouldn't necessarily have access to the level of revolutionary thought that I have had growing up in Davis in the 80s and 90s, and to be part of it sometimes. I love playing a lot of different types of music, but to me, like music that carries a political message, I've always seen as some of the most powerful types of music. We talk about music that can change your mood.
Mhm.
these are types, they're musics that have changed the world. Human systems, have changed systems of power, toppled
Mm.
government. Like revolution throughout the history of the world has been, the modern world has been accompanied by music. So even before Delta Venus, I was very involved in different social justice movements throughout the 80s and 90s and early aughts. My bands played at a lot of rallies, and we marched at a lot of rallies and tried to do everything that we can for the causes that we thought were important at the time. And a lot of the things that we were fighting for and against at that time are still very relevant today.
Mhm.
Others are different because the world has changed. But for me, all of life has been accompanied by a fight for freedom, and this idea that none of us are free unless we're all free. And the great thing about Delta Venus is that there is a lot of organizing that goes on at Delta Venus that I don't necessarily like. I'm not involved in the organization. I just open the space for it to happen. And then a lot of times I think of myself as kind of as a gardener, right? In charge of a garden. And I'm weeding and feeding and taking care of soil and water and the things that the garden needs. But it's the plants that are the beautiful thing going on. And if I can get the plants to be at their most beautiful, at their most productive, then that's success for me at Delta Venus. So last year the pro-Palestine encampment that came up, so there was a massive movement last year of pulp, they called it, which I'm not sure, pulp, People United for the Liberation of Palestine. I'm not sure what it stands for actually, but these encampments started popping up at different universities throughout the United States. And the Davis encampment was like very, very successful, like very big, very strong, very well supported by the community. And I got to like witness the organization of this at Delta Venus, because the students who organized it used Delta Venus as a spot to do their thing. So to me, like, that's very exciting. So to me, like, there was a time in my life where I could be kind of more on the front lines of doing stuff, but as I've gotten older, I kind of see my role as young people are just the ones with the great ideas and the great energy. And we are so fortunate. I am so fortunate to live in Davis and surrounded by these energetic, intelligent, thoughtful young people. I am energetic and intelligent, but not like I was when I was 25, when I was 22, So to me, like, I really recognize that for young people, this is their world. Also, like, they're the ones that are going to have to be living in this, and they're taking it seriously, So to me, like, I'm looking for ways that I can facilitate and help folks, young people and old people alike, do what they feel like they need to do, kind of in light of what's going on in the world right now. So a lot of people were affected by the election. I was definitely. I would say that in my community and in my friend group and my family, there was a lot of confidence that Trump would not win the election. I was not so sure. I was fairly confident Trump would win the election, in fact. So I've been kind of preparing for this for a little while now, and I'm ready. There's other people who the election impacted definitely, but were already in these struggles and these fights before the election, even in the previous administration, even in the administration before that. A lot of folks' struggles have continued for generations and generations, and they haven't stopped fighting for them. So there's a lot of infrastructure in place already when the election happened. But I feel like when the election happened and it turned out the way that it did, a lot of people who weren't necessarily embroiled daily in these social justice issues suddenly became. And then, of course, with the actions of the administration, incarcerating people, and I mean, tons of people in Davis, a lot of my friends and peers have lost their jobs because of grants going away or funding going away. So suddenly it's really impacted everybody, and everybody is motivated to do whatever they can to resist this and to fight it. So I'm seeing this every day in the cafe in Delta and Venus, like different groups, senior citizen groups, student groups, students of color, white senior citizens in Davis, and also students of color who are just here for school, like are all working on similar aspects of resistance at the cafe every day, and it's very, very exciting for me. So there's a lot to be down about, a lot to feel defeated about, I think. But for me, where I am at every day is that I see the energy for resistance and the energy for revolution and the energy for a response to all of this. And again, to me, very, very exciting to be doing that. And for me, like, all I'm trying to do is get all of these folks activated, or feeling like they're supported and that there's space and a place for them to meet and to organize. And we've been successful with that at Delta Venus, and it's very, very exciting to me.
Wow, that's amazing that you get to witness a lot of organization that's organizing to resist tyranny and authoritative executive orders and illegal actions, like removing people who can legally be here and should be protected. And that's just, I don't know, I'm just imagining your kind of bird's eye view, except it's closer to the earth, of like, feeling the drumbeat of organizing resistance. And I know that people have mentioned to me that they feel safe at Delta Venus, which isn't true everywhere, not even everywhere in Davis. And I know there was I'll just share that some people who were Palestinian and wanting to organize were so grateful to you because they felt like they were being misunderstood. And while they were trying to say, hey, children are being killed. Now it's 3 months. I heard a board member of the Doctors Without Borders this morning saying 3 months of aid being blocked. Children are starving. She was actually saying it's too late. And for people to be able to say that we just want people to live. We're not against any other people. And you provided a place where that kind of organization can happen. And I know there was a lot of gratitude for that.
Yeah, I think that I really appreciate that. I think that one thing that the powers that be right now want to do is also like separate people, just like you're saying, like they want people to fight against each other. And that's another thing that we have to resist, like
being divided.
Yeah. I mean, definitely there's differences of opinion. There's wrong opinions. I'm not trying to say that, I'm not trying to say that, that there isn't. But I think that we have to at least accept each other and take care of each other and try to understand each other. before just kind of flying off the handle with hatred or with violence. I mean, there's a time for violence, and there's certainly, things that I hate, but I have to like resist that even in myself, and just try to listen first, understand first, before maybe coming to a conclusion or before acting, especially, if you're feeling angry or if you're feeling rash.
Hmm. Thank you for that. Yeah. And for me, it helps to remember, like, separate the air conditioning from the people. Like, if someone's really angry about something, um, I try to remember this, they might have different conditioning from me, but they're human. I love them too. I want them to be safe too. And just build the ability to stay present and for everyone, and to, be love for everyone, and help it kind of expand, like, guess what? We don't have to be divided. We don't
Yeah,
have to follow some biases that we're not supposed to like each other. We all need to fight anti-Semitism. We all need to fight, you know, c- confusing pro-Palestinianism with anti-Semitism. It's
yeah,
not what it is. We
yeah.
can love everybody. We can love everybody from everywhere. And it's not always easy, like you said. Which reminds me, you were nominated for an award, were you not? I thought you were already the recipient, but I don't know if it's been. Uh, can you share
Yeah,
about that?
it got confirmed last week. Me and three other parties received the Tong Hai Quinn Award from the City of Davis Human Relations Commission. Definitely very, very honored to receive it, along with Dylan Horton and Ann Block and the Davis Night Market, all of whom are excellent people and organizations that really help keep Davis the type of place that I like living in and like being in. Just very, very strong people and organizations there. The For me, I was nominated by a lot of this work. I was talking to Dylan about this. You're not trying to get awards for this stuff, right? You're like, it's almost, for both of us, it felt kind of weird to receive it because because the payoff for the work that you do is just seeing an active community or engaging with the community over these issues. So with that said, I was nominated by so I just really have to show my appreciation for Professor Melissa Moreno and Mayor Bapu Vaitla and councilperson Gloria Partida. They were the people who nominated me. These are like heroes of mine and people that I really admire. So to be acknowledged by the people that you respect and admire and try to be like, I think is, it's something that we all aspire to, and it's very moving to me. With that said, I'm ready. I'm ready to move forward with this stuff. I think that it's great to take a moment and say, thank you, and I appreciate this, and also to be appreciated. And I certainly do. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done, and I'm excited to move forward and start working on those things.
Well, thank you. Before we leave that topic, I just want to read a little what the origin of the award to honor the young man. And again, when I'm afraid I'm going to mix up words, I read. So I'm going to and correct my pronunciation. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. Tong Hai Hyun.
That's good.
This award, it honors community members whose actions exemplify diversity, community, social justice, and equal rights, which is why you were very validly nominated by people who are also strong activists. But it was established in 1986 as a memorial award, recognizing local individuals, because sadly, very, very sadly, this young man life was taken from him in Davis. In 1983, he was stabbed to death at the Davis High School. So I just wanted to tell that piece of his story to honor him and his family while we were talking about the award.
Yeah, that murder happened. So he was about 5 years older than me. So I was in junior high school when that murder happened, and it really rocked Davis, and it really rocked me. You know, my mother's Chinese. I come from an Asian household. I'm mixed race, and I would say that, you know, among Asian people particularly, it was very scary. And the hatefulness and the aggression and violence of it was just something that we were used to seeing in Davis. And in fact, you know, my parents moved from downtown Sacramento to Davis in order to kind of avoid this type of violence. So it was just a very, So just a very impactful moment in my youth and childhood, and it's likewise very meaningful to me to have his name associated with this award.
So meaningful.
Yeah.
Well, I am realizing we only have 4 minutes left. I cannot believe it. There's so many other topics we were going to talk about, so we'll have to come back on sometime. But let me just make sure I give you time to share any other thoughts you might have. Like the title, like Love and Revolution at Delta Venus, you've kind of like described the atmosphere and the climate, the cultural climate that you cultivate, and you said the town helps, you know, keep it alive. But do you have any like closing thoughts that you would like to share?
You know, well, one thing actually about the Tong Hai Huyen Award that I want to mention before going is that you know, this award is given to Delta Venus, not specifically. Well, it's both me and Delta Venus. And to me, I'd like to accept the award on behalf of the Delta Venus community, which, as I said, really does a lot of the work that Delta Venus that is associated with Delta Venus. A lot of what I do is I say yes to great ideas in my community. People approach me, you know, the Palestinian community approached me about doing events, and you know, it feels very. You mentioned that people feel safe at Delta Venus. There's really no greater compliment, I feel like, to me than that. If people feel safe at Delta Venus, it just again, it very, very meaningful to me. So these students felt safe there. They felt like they could have solidarity events here. So I just said yes, and then it happened. Indivisible YOLO, a similar situation of where they needed a place to meet. I really liked what they were about and what they were trying to do. So I just say yes, and then they meet there. Artists want to show on the walls of Delta Venus, and I say yes, and it happens. So I think that it's very, you know, saying yes is a very powerful thing to do. I recommend that people do it when people come in with great ideas. I put myself in a position where I'm surrounded by people with great ideas, strong spirits, strong minds. We have a very, very soulful community around Delta Venus. And then I just, you know, open the doors and say, let's do it together. And people do. And I feel very, very fortunate about that. Night market, are we out of time? Sorry.
We are out of time.
Okay.
You can throw it out, though. Just throw it out.
I just, you know, night market was another conversation that happened at Delta. Two people wanted to do this thing out on the patio. I was there. They were talking about it. And then so many years later, we have an exceptional program like night market happening every day at Central Park in Davis. So very, very proud of this community, and very, very proud that my community accepts Delta Venus as a place to do the thing.
Fantastic. I love saying yes is a very powerful thing to do. That should be a bumper sticker. Well, thank you so much, Lee of Delta Venus. And thank you, listeners and viewers, for this time. And be sure to share the story and to tune in next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Talk4TV or W4CY.com. And thank you to our engineer and our producer. And may we all have enriching conversations every day. Thanks again.
Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech.